sewers? Down there?
I'd better wait.
Do you remember the 12th Precinct Police Station in Barney Miller? The place where Hal Linden, in the role of Barney Miller, once made all of America laugh with outrageous, unbelievable cases for many years. But behind those laughs, time tells a completely different story. After 50 years, many actors of Barney Miller have had to face illness loss, personal tragedy, and even deaths that shocked fans. What really happened to them? Who is still here? And who has passed away? Let's explore the fates of the cast behind one of the most classic sitcoms in television history. 10. Hal Linden lived a fulfilling life. Captain Barney Miller.
I think there's something in these things. Have you had any?
Hal Linden, whose real name is Harold Lipschitz, was born on March 20th, 1931 in the Bronx, New York. He came from an immigrant Jewish family with a father who owned a printing shop. From a young age, Linden was passionate about music and performing arts. He studied at the High School of Music and Art, then pursued classical clarinet, and even played in symphony orchestras. Before stepping into professional acting, Linden worked as a singer-musician and even led a band. His career began on stage with small roles in summer stock productions, gradually establishing his position on Broadway. In 1975, Hal Linden took on the lead role of Captain Bernard Barney Miller in the ABC sitcom of the same name. At the time, he was 44 years old at the prime of a seasoned man calm enough to portray a model captain in a police station constantly filled with chaos. Barney Miller stood out for its realism solving small cases, dealing more with people than crimes, and that made the role uniquely authentic on American television at the time. The role of Barney Miller not only brought fame, but also deeply influenced Hal Linden's career and life. He once called it the most irrational but best decision when he left Broadway to take the role. The series provided him with a solid financial foundation and reinforced his image as a versatile, mature actor. However, the production process was grueling with long and difficult shooting days. A series that lasted 8 seasons meant an almost non-stop schedule, 12 to 14-hour filming days that gradually wore down both physical and mental health. After Barney Miller ended in 1982, Hal Linden did not retire, but continued working in various fields. He declined the role of Dr. Westfall in Street, elsewhere to take a short break, then starred in series such as Black's Magic, 1986, Jack's Place, 1992 to 1993, and The Boys Are Back, 1994. On stage, he returned to Broadway with productions like The Gathering Guys and Dolls and many regional tours. Linden also revived his passion for music by performing in cabarets and nightclubs, releasing albums and playing the clarinet. He also served as a narrator for many documentary programs and won additional Daytime Emmy Awards for hosting educational shows. Hal Linden's personal life was closely tied to his wife, Frances Martin, a dancer he met in 1955. They married in 1958 and had 4 children, 3 daughters, Jennifer Amelia Nora, and 1 son, Ian. Frances passed away in 2010 after more than 50 years of marriage. Linden has always maintained the image of a responsible husband and father, living a simple life. He also served as a spokesperson for the Jewish National Fund and participated in many charitable activities. Despite his busy career, he always prioritized family and his passion for the arts. By 2026, at the age of 95, Hal Linden remains healthy, sharp, and active. He recently celebrated his 95th birthday in March with many well wishes from fans and colleagues. Despite his age, Hal Linden has never left the arts. He continues to appear in small roles, perform jazz, his lifelong passion, and maintain a lasting connection with the stage and screen. Do you like Hal Linden's performance, and which scene impressed you the most? Share your thoughts below. 9. Abe Vigoda endured death rumors his entire life. Sergeant Philip K. Fish, Abe Vigoda, whose real name was Abraham Vigoda, was born on February 24, 1921, in New York, USA, into a Jewish immigrant family from Russia. He was the son of a tailor and began pursuing acting in his teenage years. Before becoming famous, Vigoda spent a long time working in New York theater, participating in many classical and modern plays. He had to wait until his 50s to land his first major film role in The Godfather 1972, where he played Salvatore Tessio, a mafia capo who was executed. This role opened the door to his television career. In 1975, Abe Vigoda took on the role of Detective Sergeant Philip K. Phil Fish in the sitcom Barney Miller. This was a main role from Season 1 to Season 4, after which he returned in Season 7 as a guest. The character Fish is an aging, weary detective who constantly grumbles and complains about various ailments such as joint pain, hemorrhoids, and the need for medication. Fish's dry, sarcastic personality was both humorous and endearing, often delivering laughs through simple looks or pauses.
Oh, hello. This is Sergeant Fish at the 12th.
The role of Phil Fish brought a major turning point in Abe Vigoda's career. From an unknown supporting actor, he became a nationally beloved sitcom star. The character became so popular that it received its own spin-off titled Fish, where he starred alongside his wife Bernice while fostering 5 children. However, the production process was not smooth. Vigoda wanted to leave Barney Miller early to focus on the spin-off, leading to conflicts with producer Danny Arnold. He demanded a salary increase, missed rehearsals due to scheduling conflicts, and was even sued later, counter-claiming that the production team deliberately made things difficult for him. The spin-off Fish lasted only 2 seasons and was canceled partly due to Vigoda demanding a higher salary for a 3rd season. After Barney Miller and Fish ended, Abe Vigoda continued his career as a reliable character actor. He appeared in films such as Cannonball Run, To Look Who's Talking, Joe vs. the Volcano, and Good Burger. He also participated in other television series and returned to the stage. Vigoda's personal life was quite private. He was married twice. His first marriage to Sonia Golke ended in divorce in 1963, and they had a daughter named Carol. His second marriage to Beatrice Schei lasted from 1968 until her death in 1992. Vigoda lived simply focusing on family and occasionally engaging in charity work. An interesting aspect of Abe Vigoda's life was the persistent false rumors about his death. Starting in 1982, People magazine mistakenly referred to him as the late Abe Vigoda, leading to decades of false death rumors. He often joked about it on late-night shows such as those of David Letterman and Conan O'Brien, turning it into part of his comedic identity. This made him a living meme, the man who never dies, keeping his name relevant even when he was no longer in major roles. Vigoda was a lifelong fitness enthusiast. He ran 5 miles a day, played handball well into his late 80s, and lived in good health without serious illness. His daughter once said, "This man was never sick." He moved to New Jersey to avoid harsh weather and live closer to family. Despite his on-screen image as a grumpy old man in real life, Vigoda was energetic, friendly, and well-liked by colleagues. Abe Vigoda passed away on January 26, 2016, at his daughter Carol Fuchs's home in Woodland Park, New Jersey, at the age of 94, just 1 month shy of his 95th birthday. He died peacefully in his sleep from natural causes due to old age. His funeral was held a few days later. His legacy lives on through the character Phil Fish, a humane comedic icon of Barney Miller and Tessio in The Godfather. Although his career came late, Abe Vigoda left an unforgettable mark on audiences across generations with his unique acting talent and long, healthy, fulfilling life. 8. Barbara Barrie is a symbol of resilience. Elizabeth Liz Miller. Barbara Barrie, whose real name is Barbara Ann Berman, was born on May 23, 1931 in Chicago, Illinois, USA. She came from a Jewish family and began pursuing the arts at a young age. Before becoming famous on television, Barbara Barrie had a long career on Broadway and in film. She received a Tony Award nomination for her role in The Musical Company in 1971, and was praised for many classic stage performances. Her diverse career includes acting, writing, and social activism. She was 44 years old when she joined Barney Miller in 1975 as Elizabeth Liz Miller. Liz is portrayed as a wise, loyal, and mature wife who supports her husband in balancing the stressful work at the police station with family life. Her personality is practical, dryly humorous, yet subtle, bringing a warm and humane perspective to the series. Liz became the quiet heart of the show, but behind her calm exterior was a more turbulent personal life than most people ever knew. Barbara Barrie's private life was closely tied to her husband J. Malcolm Harnick, a director and producer. They married in 1964 and had 2 children, Jane Caroline and Aaron Lewis. Her husband passed away in 2007 after a long illness, leaving deep sorrow for the family. In addition, Barbara Barrie faced 2 serious illnesses. In 1994, she was diagnosed with rectal cancer and underwent surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, and a colostomy. She publicly shared her health journey and wrote 2 memoirs to encourage early cancer screening. After Barney Miller ended, Barbara Barrie continued a rich and enduring career. She received an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress for her role as Evelyn Stoller in Breaking Away. 1979. She starred in the series Suddenly Susan as grandmother Helen Keene and made guest appearances in shows such as Law and Order and Nurse Jackie. On stage, she remained active in off-Broadway and Broadway productions. She also wrote children's books and memoirs about her cancer experience, becoming a veteran actress and author with a career spanning over 70 years. By 2026, Barbara Barrie is 94 years old and still living in New York City. She has had idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis since 2014, a condition progressing more slowly than initially expected. Despite this, she remains mentally sharp, optimistic, and living full steam ahead. Recently, she appeared in the podcast Nostalgia Stories in March 2025, sharing memories of Barney Miller, and continued taking small roles in The Magnificent Meyersons 2023 and other projects in 2025. She also participated in a PBS interview in 2024 and maintains a positive spirit. She is a symbol of strong vitality and resilience in overcoming health challenges and personal loss. Although Liz Miller was not her biggest role, it contributed to her warm legacy in the hearts of Barney Miller audiences. Barbara Barrie's career and life inspire many generations with her passion for the arts and optimistic spirit in the face of challenges. Do you like Barbara Barrie's performance? Share your thoughts with me. 7. Jack Sue endured early racial discrimination. Sergeant Nick Yamana. Jack Sue, whose real name was Goro Suzuki, was born on October 28, 1917, on a ship in the Pacific Ocean while his parents were traveling from Japan to the United States. He grew up in Oakland, California, in a Japanese-American family. His life faced many challenges early on during World War II. He and his family were sent to the Topaz internment camp in Utah due to U.S. government policies. There, Jack Sue became an entertainer, performing comedy, singing, and dancing to uplift the spirits of those detained. After the war, he changed his name to Jack Sue to pursue a career in entertainment, starting in nightclubs and gradually establishing his talent. In 1975, Jack Sue took on the role of Detective Sergeant Nick Yamana in the sitcom Barney Miller. He was a main cast member from Season 1 to Season 5, appearing in a total of 101 episodes. The character Yamana is an Asian-American NYPD detective with a relaxed and humorous personality.
Black fenders, silver doors, green hood.
He is famous for the running joke throughout the series, his terrible coffee that co-workers are forced to drink every day. The character is intelligent, observant, and sometimes uses wordplay to break stereotypes about Asians by emphasizing his strong American identity. The role of Nick Yamana was the peak of Jack Sue's career, elevating him from a stage and nightclub performer to a national sitcom star. Before that, he had appeared on Broadway and in some films, but Barney Miller helped him establish his talent and break barriers for Asian American actors. The role brought him major fame and opportunities. However, filming became extremely difficult when he was diagnosed with esophageal cancer at the end of season 4. He was absent from the last 5 episodes of season 4, returned at the beginning of season 5, but his health declined rapidly. The production explained his absence through a storyline involving appendicitis. In real life, his romantic life was not easy either. Jack Sue's private life was closely tied to his wife, Jans Delar, a model. They married in 1945 and had 3 children, Jane, Richard, and James. Their marriage lasted over 30 years, bringing family happiness amid life's ups and downs. He was a responsible father, always making time for his children, despite a busy schedule. However, his life was filled with hardships, surviving internment during the war, facing racial discrimination in the entertainment industry, and ultimately battling serious illness. He had been a long-time smoker, which contributed to his cancer. After Barney Miller, Jack Sue did not have the chance to continue a long career due to his declining health. He only completed a few early episodes of season 5 before being hospitalized. Although he had previously undergone tumor removal surgery and experimental immunotherapy, the cancer had spread. Before entering surgery, he even joked, "It must have been my coffee maintaining his humor until the very end." His final episode was The Vandal, which aired on November 9th, 1978, with his last line, "I have nothing to add," becoming a meaningful farewell. The production team did not kill off his character, but created a special tribute episode at the end of season 5, where the cast shared memories of him. Jack Sue passed away on January 11th, 1979, at UCLA Medical Center in Los Angeles at the age of 61 due to metastatic esophageal cancer. He was laid to rest at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, with an estate of about $500,000 at the time of his death. Jack Sue may not have been wealthy in material terms, but the legacy he left behind carries profound value. 6. Steve Landesberg and an incurable cancer. Sergeant Arthur P. Dietrich. Steve Landesberg, whose real name was Steve Landesberg, was born on November 23, 1936, in the Bronx, New York, USA, into a Jewish family. His father owned a grocery store, and his mother was a hat maker. Before becoming famous, Landesberg pursued a career in stand-up comedy, performing at clubs in New York and frequently appearing on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. He began professional acting in the 1970s with small supporting roles on television and in films, but had to wait until middle age to land a major role. In 1975, at the age of 39, he joined Barney Miller as Sergeant Arthur P. Dietrich, a quiet, sharp detective with near-encyclopedic knowledge and a subtle sense of humor. In more than 120 episodes, Dietrich did not need to be flashy to become an invisible pillar of the 12th Precinct, where his calmness and intelligence always kept things from going off track. Dietrich often seemed to know everything in the world, delivering deep knowledge, unexpectedly surprising his colleagues, and bringing refined humor to the series.
Your mother is French.
Right.
And your father?
Is dead.
I mean before.
He was alive.
However, in real life, Steve Landesberg was a completely different person, reserved, full of insecurities, and often facing a sense of loneliness. His marriage to Nancy Ross fell apart at the very time the show was succeeding, as work pressure and social anxiety made him withdraw more and more. That breakup left such a deep mark that he almost avoided emotional attachments afterward, as if afraid of experiencing another similar loss. His anxiety not only affected his personal life, but also seeped into his career. On one occasion, just before going on stage for a stand-up performance, he suddenly had a panic attack and walked off, leading to lost contracts and serious damage to his reputation. After Barney Miller ended, he only appeared sporadically in projects such as The Simpsons, or For Richer or Poorer, enough for audiences to remember him, but not enough to keep him at the center of Hollywood. Gradually, depression pushed him further away from the spotlight. In 2010, when diagnosed with colon cancer, Steve Landesberg chose silence. He refused aggressive treatment, did not want anyone to witness his decline, and almost disappeared from the public eye. On December 20th, 2010, he passed away at the age of 74 in near total quiet, with an estimated net worth of about $1.5 million, a modest figure compared to the 3 Emmy nominations he had received. 5. Ron Carey and the feeling of being left behind. Officer Carl Levitt. Ron Carey, born on December 11, 1935 in Newark, New Jersey, USA, into an Italian-American family. He had a modest height of only about 5 feet 4 inches, which later became a comedic trait in his roles. Before becoming famous on television, Ron Carey began his career as a stand-up comedian, performing at clubs in New York and appearing on shows such as The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson and The Merv Griffin Show. He gradually transitioned into film and television acting with a witty and endearing comedic style. When he joined Barney Miller in 1975 at the age of 40, he played Officer Carl Levitt, a short, eager policeman who constantly sought recognition among more prominent colleagues. Despite his small stature, Levitt often stood on tiptoe while speaking to gain height and continuously reminded Captain Barney Miller of his abilities. The character Levitt brought relatable humor, both pitiful and lovable, like someone always trying to prove his worth in a world that is not particularly kind. Ron Carey's private life was relatively stable and discreet. He was married to Sharon Boyeros, his wife of 38 years until his passing. They had no children. Carey lived a simple life in Los Angeles after moving from New York. There is no public information about major tragedies, family loss, or serious personal hardships. He focused on his acting and comedy career, maintaining the image of a loyal husband, cheerful personality, and someone content with being a supporting actor. After Barney Miller ended in 1982, Ron Carey continued his career with supporting roles in film and television. He appeared in Johnny Dangerously Fatso, some Italian comedies, and the short-lived series Have Faith 1989, where he played a priest. However, these projects often failed quickly after only a few episodes, leaving him with a sense of disappointment and typecasting. Occasional collaborations with Mel Brooks, guest roles, and commercials were not enough to keep him in the spotlight. The feeling of being left behind gradually became part of his life. As he passed his 50s, Ron Carey's health declined noticeably. High blood pressure, chronic pneumonia, and recurring migraines made it impossible for him to work at the same intensity as before. On January 16, 2007, he passed away at the age of 71 due to complications from a stroke at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. With an estimated net worth of about $2 million, largely from Barney Miller and scattered roles. His life ended quietly, just as he had existed in the entertainment industry, present, persistent, but rarely truly at the center of the spotlight. 4. Max Gail had a complex personal life. Detective Stan Wojo Wojciechowicz. Max Gail was born on April 5, 1943, in Detroit, Michigan, USA. He began his acting career on stage with his first notable role in the play One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in 1970. Before entering television, Gail worked as a teacher of ancient history and English. He has a twin sister actress, Mary Gail. His career gradually shifted into film and television, where he demonstrated a wide range of talent from comedy to deeply emotional roles. In 1975, at just 32 years old, he made his mark as Detective Stan Wojo Wojciechowicz in Barney Miller, a sincere, clumsy, but compassionate Polish-American police officer. Wojo brought a unique warmth to the show, a kind of character who made audiences laugh, yet easy to empathize with. However, behind that naive image was a man in real life, carrying emotional scars over the years. The series not only made him a nationwide television star, but also helped him grow through humanistic lessons. Gail directed several episodes of Barney Miller and later founded Full Circle, a production company focusing on documentaries about social issues such as Agent Orange Native Americans and nuclear topics. Max Gail's personal life quickly faced turmoil. In 1983, he married Willie Beer. They had a daughter named India, born in 1984. Just 3 years later, in 1986, Willie passed away from colon cancer when India was only 2 years old. This loss devastated Gail. He paused his career and spent his savings to stay home and raise his child alone. He later described it as a major turning point in his life and went on to narrate a documentary on alternative medicine in 1988. In 1989, Gail remarried Nan Harris. They had 2 children, Maxwell and Grace, but separated amicably in 2000. Since 2007, he has lived happily with his partner Chris Call. After Barney Miller ended in 1982, Max Gail continued working steadily. He appeared in films such as DC, Cab 1983, the series Whiz Kids and Normal Life. Gail guest starred in many well-known shows and performed on stage with his one-man show, The Babe. In 2018, he made a strong comeback as Mike Corbin in General Hospital, winning 2 Daytime Emmy Awards in 2019 and 2021. Recently, in 2025, he returned to this role as a ghost in a special episode. Gail also appeared in major films such as 42, 2013, and continued pursuing music. By 2026, at the age of 83, Max Gail remains healthy, mentally sharp, and active. He underwent knee replacement surgery due to an old injury, but recovered well, practicing yoga to improve flexibility. Recently, Gail appeared with Hal Linden at The Hollywood Show and on podcasts sharing Barney Miller memories with a cheerful and humorous spirit. He lives with his partner Chris in California and maintains a positive outlook, participating in charity work and viewing life as a journey where it is never too late. With an estimated net worth of about $3 million, his life is not a story of prolonged fame, but a journey of persistent self-rebuilding step by step after each fall. 3. James Gregory faced severe health decline. Inspector Frank Luger. James Gregory, whose real name was James Gregory, was born on December 23, 1911 in the Bronx, New York, USA. He grew up in New Rochelle, was president of his high school drama club, and briefly worked on Wall Street after the 1929 crash, before pursuing acting professionally. Gregory began his Broadway career in 1939 with Key Largo, participated in about 25 plays, and served in both the U.S. Navy and Marine Corps during World War II in the Pacific. He was a veteran character actor, often playing police officers, generals, or strong businessmen with a deep voice and sharp presence. In 1975, at the age of 64, he appeared in Barney Miller as Inspector Frank Luger, an elderly veteran nostalgic, often recounting past stories in a tone that was half serious, half humorous. In more than 60 episodes, Luger became a symbol of an older generation, tough, principled, yet charming in his own unique way, bringing gentle humor to audiences. After Barney Miller ended in 1982, James Gregory fully retired in 1983 in his early 70s. He moved to Sedona, Arizona, a peaceful place known for its beautiful scenery. He did not take on any major acting projects, enjoying a private life with his wife Anne. Their marriage was very happy, lasting nearly 6 decades. But when she passed away, silence quickly took over. With no children and no close relatives, he spent his final years in a quiet space, almost detached from the world, a loneliness typical of old age. In his later years, his health declined with cardiovascular and vision problems, leaving him unable to continue performing a quiet departure, fitting how he had existed in the industry. On September 16, 2002, James Gregory passed away in Sedona at the age of 90. He was buried at Sedona Community Cemetery beside his lifelong wife. With an estimated net worth of about $4 million, he left behind not only roles, but also the memory of a resonant, powerful voice, one that audiences remembered long after the stage lights had dimmed. 2. Gregory Sierra and a life full of tragedy. Sergeant Chano Amangwali. Gregory Sierra was born on January 25, 1937 in Spanish Harlem, New York, USA, into a Puerto Rican family. He was abandoned by his parents at the age of 6 and raised by his aunt in a tough neighborhood where he nearly got involved in gangs. Sierra began his acting career on stage and in films in the 1960s, with small roles in The Flying Nun, Mission Impossible, and Beneath the Planet of the Apes. He was a versatile actor, easily transitioning between comedy and drama, often cast in ethnic roles. In 1975, at the age of 38, he appeared in Barney Miller as Sergeant Chano Amenguali, a hot-tempered, energetic Puerto Rican detective who carried strong cultural pride. Chano was bilingual, disliked petty criminals who were also Puerto Rican, and brought emotional depth and humor to the team. Although he appeared in only 35 episodes across the first 2 seasons, Chano left a strong impression with his blend of anger and humor, becoming one of the most memorable Latin characters of the series. He left Barney Miller after season 2 to star in a new sitcom, AES Hudson Street, produced by Danny Arnold. The production process did not record major conflicts or serious incidents. Sierra proactively requested his character be written out to pursue a leading role opportunity. However, the new show lasted only 6 episodes before being canceled. However, in real life, Gregory Sierra's journey was far from smooth. His personal life was marked by many tragedies. He married 3 times, first to Eileen DeFelita, second to Susan Pollock, who passed away just 2 weeks after he began filming AES Hudson Street. Sierra once shared his deep regret and sorrow due to a separation initiated by his wife. His third marriage to Helene Tabor was a happy one. He had no biological children, but had 2 stepdaughters and 1 step-granddaughter from later marriages. Sierra remained active until 2018 with The Other Side of the Wind by Orson Welles. He lived peacefully in Laguna Woods, California, with his wife Helene, focusing on family and selective roles. In his final years, Gregory Sierra's health declined due to stomach and liver cancer. The illness lasted many years. He fought bravely, but ultimately could not overcome it. Sierra passed away on January 4th, 2021, at his home in Laguna Woods, California, at the age of 83. His wife Helene Tabor shared, "He was wonderful. My heart is broken into a million pieces. The cancer lingered too long. He tried his best, but could not anymore. His body was cremated and his ashes given to his wife. With an estimated net worth of about $2 million, he passed away without recognition, matching his talent. But what he left behind, though, quiet, remains the image of a persistent artist, always striving to prove himself in a world that was never truly open to him." What do you think about Sierra's performance? Share your thoughts in the comments below. 1. Ron Glass and years of struggle afterward. Detective Ron Harris. Ron Glass, whose real name was Ronald Earl Glass, was born on July 10, 1945, in Evansville, Indiana, USA. He came from a modest background and studied at the University of Evansville with dual majors in drama and literature. After graduating, he began his career in regional theater at the Guthrie Theater in Minneapolis before moving to Los Angeles to pursue professional acting. Ron Glass had a warm, deep voice, an elegant demeanor, and versatile acting talent, initially appearing in guest roles in series such as All in the Family, Sanford and Son, and Hawaii Five-0 in the early 1970s. At the age of 30, he made his mark as Detective Ron Harris in Barney Miller, a sophisticated literature-loving sharp character who always maintained a calm and captivating presence. Harris not only brought intellectual depth to the series, but also became a distinctive figure, a police officer both sharp and refined, standing out among louder personalities. He was one of the rare black characters on television at the time, portrayed as intelligent and sophisticated, avoiding stereotypes. However, behind that elegance was a personal life full of inner struggles. In a Hollywood still burdened with prejudice, Ron Glass had to live discreetly with his true identity, keeping silent about his most important relationships. The fear of losing his career made him cautious with the media, and this prolonged concealment gradually made his life more lonely. Over time, a heavy price for surviving in a harsh industry. Although raised Catholic, he later became a devoted Buddhist and a member of Soka Gakkai International. He dedicated much of his time to charity work, especially supporting the Wooten Center in Los Angeles, helping students from grades 3 to 12 prepare for college. There is no public information about major family tragedies or severe personal hardships. Friends described him as kind, caring, and attentive to others. After Barney Miller ended, he continued working, though not always smoothly. A major setback came when Firefly, a highly anticipated project, was abruptly canceled, leaving a difficult emotional void. Nevertheless, he persisted appearing in projects such as Serenity and doing voice work for series like Rugrats and All Grown Up. At the same time, his health gradually declined. His lifelong asthma worsened with age, making each job a real physical challenge. On November 25, 2016, Ron Glass passed away at the age of 71 due to respiratory failure. He was buried at Rose Hills Memorial Park. With an estimated net worth of about $2 million, his life was not measured by wealth, but by quiet resilience, a man who crossed many personal and social boundaries to stay true to his artistic path, even at the cost of enduring years of loneliness. The cast of Barney Miller, each with their own fate, all left a unique mark on television history. Some were forever tied to a single role like Hal Linden. Some became irreplaceable icons like Abe Vigoda. Some were quietly persistent like Max Gail. And some lived lives full of upheaval like Gregory Sierra. Whether they achieved great success or lived quietly, whether they lived long lives or passed away early, all of them contributed to creating a show that was not only humorous, but deeply human, where every character felt like a real person in society. And what about you? Among all the characters of Barney Miller, who impressed you the most? Calm Barney grumbling, Fish clumsy Wojo, or explosive Chano? Leave a comment below to share your thoughts. If you enjoy this kind of deep dive content into behind-the-scenes stories and actors' lives, don't forget to follow and subscribe so you won't miss upcoming videos. Thank you for watching.